My name is Sally Harrison. I'm 34 years old. Last Tuesday, after a 16-hour shift in the OR, I fell asleep at the wheel. I woke up in the ambulance, everything hurting. The paramedic called my parents. I heard my mother's voice, clear, cold. Is she dying? No. Then it can wait. Maria needs us. Sally's always dramatic. They were 25 minutes away, holding my sister Maria's hand because she'd gotten a $385 traffic ticket. 3 hours later, when my father finally walked into that hospital room, he froze. Someone was sitting beside my bed. His face went pale. Why is she here? That's when everything changed. Monday, October 21st, 11 a.m. I clocked in for a routine trauma rotation. There's no such thing. By 11:47, I was in O2. A 32-year-old man, car accident, 3 broken ribs, punctured lung. The same injuries I'd have 24 hours later. Dr. James Kowalski, the resident I trained, said, "Chest tube looks clean. You want me to close?" You do the honors. The surgery took 4.5 hours. The patient lived. I scrubbed out at 4:18 p.m., checked my phone. Text from my mother. "We're taking Maria to that new Italian place tomorrow. Wish you weren't always so busy." A sharp pain behind my left eye. I ignored it. At 6:23 p.m., another patient, gunshot wound. "Dr. Harrison, we need you now." 3 hours later, he was stable. The last case came at 12:47 a.m., an elderly woman with a ruptured appendix. I operated for 2.5 hours. When I closed at 3:20 a.m., she squeezed my hand. "Thank you. That's what I'm here for." I didn't tell her that in 12 hours, I'd be the one needing saving. As I scrubbed out, my phone buzzed. Text from Maria. "Mum and Dad are taking me to that new Italian place tomorrow. Wish you weren't always so busy." The pain flared again. I drove home in the dark. When I pulled into the driveway at 4:15 a.m., the house was dark. My husband, Andrew, and daughter, Emma, were asleep. I sat in the car, checked my phone. A text from my mother. "Can you send an extra $500? Maria's car insurance went up." I opened my banking app, sent $1,200, my monthly contribution, plus another $500. Total $1,700. My balance, $3,280. I'd made that transfer 84 times before. Once a month for 7 years, $100,800. Plus the loan summary still open in another tab, the $186,000 refinance I'd co-signed in March 2017. Amount my parents had paid, $0. Amount I'd paid, $43,700. Current balance, $142,300. Still entirely in my name. Andrew had asked me once, "Why do you keep giving them money?" "Because they're family. Family doesn't bleed you dry, Sally." I didn't have an answer. Tuesday morning, 7:15 a.m., Emma shook my shoulder. "Mommy, we're going to be late." I'd slept through my alarm. Andrew was already gone. He'd left a note. "You needed the rest." I made breakfast. Emma said, "Mommy, why do you look sad?" "Just tired." "You're always tired." She was 5, and she was right. At 7:48 a.m., text from my mother. "Did you send the money? Maria's insurance will drop her." I didn't respond. I drove Emma to school, then to the hospital. The headache was back. By noon, pain was 8 out of 10. At 2 p.m., I walked into the tumor board meeting. 18 doctors. Halfway through my presentation, the room started spinning. "Dr. Harrison, are you okay?" "Fine, just tired." At 3:15, I excused myself to the doctor's lounge. The pain was blinding. I sat down on the couch. just for a minute. The next thing I remember is James's face above me, panicked. "Sally, can you hear me?" I tried to answer. My mouth wouldn't work. I woke up in the ambulance. A paramedic named Morgan leaned over me. "Dr. Harrison, you hit a telephone pole. We're taking you to Metropolitan General." I didn't remember. "What time is it?" 3:52 p.m. I'd left the hospital at 3:30. The drive home was 45 minutes. I'd made it 14 minutes. Morgan said, "Broken ribs, possible pneumothorax." He put a needle in my chest. "Better. I need to call your emergency contact." I gave him my parents' number. He dialed, put it on speaker. My mother answered. "Mrs. Harrison, your daughter Sally has been in a car accident." "Is she dying?" "Ma'am, she has significant injuries." "Is she dying? Yes or no?" Morgan looked at me. "No, ma'am." "Then it can wait. Maria needs us. Sally's always dramatic." Click. She hung up. Morgan stared at the phone. Should I call back? No. I knew they weren't coming. We arrived at the ER at 4:18 p.m. James was waiting. He looked at my CT scan. "Sally, 3 fractured ribs, hemothorax, 800 milliliters of blood, and a lacerated spleen. Grade 3. You need surgery within the hour." "Call Andrew." "Already did. He's on his way." "Sally, we need your parents to sign consent forms. Hospital policy for non-life-threatening emergencies." "Non-life-threatening, just like my mother asked." "Call them," I said. Over the next 90 minutes, the hospital made 10 phone calls. 4:18 p.m., nurse called Ronald. No answer. 4:35 p.m., James called Patricia. She said they'd come when they could. 4:52 p.m., Andrew called Ronald. Voicemail, 5:03 p.m., Andrew called Patricia. "We're handling Maria's crisis." 5:10 p.m., James called Patricia. Voicemail. 5:25 p.m., nurse called Ronald. No answer. 5:40 p.m., Andrew called Ronald. No answer. 5:55 p.m., hospital administrator called Patricia. "We're on our way." They weren't. 6:10 p.m., Andrew called Ronald. "We're leaving now." They'd said that 40 minutes ago. 6:25 p.m., James called Patricia one last time. Voicemail. They were at Cafe Rossi, 25 minutes away. They stayed for 2 hours and 15 minutes because Maria had gotten a $385 traffic ticket, her 4th violation this year. I'd paid for the other 3. At 5:20 p.m., James came back. "Sally, we can't wait any longer. I'm invoking emergency surgical consent." "What's Maria's emergency?" "A traffic ticket." I started laughing, then crying, then I couldn't breathe. They wheeled me to OR4 at 5:38 p.m. Andrew arrived at 5:45 p.m. He'd been picking up Emma from school. He drove 80 miles an hour, ran 3 red lights. He made it in 22 minutes. My parents were 25 minutes away. They took 3 hours and 12 minutes away. Andrew signed the consent forms at 5:48 p.m., his hands shaking. The anesthesiologist put the mask over my face. I counted backward from 10. The last thing I thought was, they're not coming. I woke up at 8:32 p.m. in the ICU. The surgery had taken 2 hours and 12 minutes. Andrew was sitting beside my bed, unshaven, eyes red. "Hey," I whispered. He grabbed my hand. "You scared the hell out of me." "Sorry." "Don't apologize. Your parents didn't get here until 6:50. You were already in surgery. And when they walked into the waiting room, your mother's first words, she asked if the car was totaled. She wanted to know if your insurance was comprehensive." I closed my eyes. She asked about the car, not about me. I should have been surprised, but I wasn't. Andrew, call Dr. Hartwick. Tell her I need to see her tonight. Your boss? Yeah, I'm done. I'm done paying. I'm done pretending. I'm done being the good daughter who erases herself, he called. She came. Let me take you back 7 years. March 2017. I was 27, just finished my residency. My parents invited me to dinner. My father slid a folder across the table. Loan documents, a $186,000 refinance. We need a co-signer. It's just a formality. We'll make all the payments. Temporary, 6 months, maybe a year. I signed. 7 years later, they hadn't paid a single dollar. Within 6 months, I got the first overdue notice. Can you help us out just this once? I paid $1,156. One more time became every time. By month 12, I was paying the entire mortgage. I kept paying because that's what good daughters do. It wasn't just the money. My medical school graduation, they didn't come. Maria's Etsy shop launched that day. The shop closed 3 weeks later. My daughter Emma's birth, they stayed 20 minutes, then left because Maria needed a new outfit for a job interview. Maria didn't even go to the interview. My promotion to lead trauma surgeon, I planned a celebration dinner. My parents RSVP'd yes, they didn't show. Maria was having a panic attack about her performance review. She got fired 2 days later. Thanksgiving 2023. My cousin Jennifer pulled me aside. Sally, when do you finish your nursing degree? I'm not a nurse, I'm a surgeon. She showed me my mother's Facebook page, post after post of lies. Maria in grad school at Northwestern, she dropped out of community college. Maria volunteering at a children's hospital, she can't handle blood. Prayers for our family. Sally is going through a difficult time. I wasn't. I'd just saved 3 lives. My mother had created an entire fictional life for Maria, and for me, I was demoted. Nurse instead of surgeon. They were ashamed of me because I'd succeeded without needing them. June 14th, 2024. I was nominated for the Outstanding Young Surgeon Award. I invited my parents 6 weeks in advance. Of course we'll be there. The day arrived. My table had 3 seats filled. Andrew, Emma, me. Dr. Laura Bennett had 11 family members with banners and flowers. At 11 a.m., I'd received a text from my mother. So sorry. Maria's landlord is evicting her. We have to help her move. Congrats on the award. Maria wasn't being evicted. She'd violated her lease with noise complaints. She moved into my parents' basement 2 weeks later, where she still lives, rent-free. I won the award. I gave my speech. I thanked my husband, my daughter, my colleagues. I didn't mention my parents. Emma whispered, "Where's Grandma and Grandpa? They couldn't make it, baby." Because of Aunt Maria. She was 5, and she already knew. That night, my mother messaged me. "Did you see Maria's post? Can you send $800? For the first time in 34 years, I said no. Wednesday morning, October 23rd, 8:20 a.m. I woke to voices outside my ICU room, my parents arguing with a nurse. The door opened. Mum, Dad, Maria are on her phone, and behind them stood Dr. Evelyn Hartwick, Chief Medical Officer, my boss, my witness. My father's face went white. "Dr. Hartwick, please sit down." My mother complained about parking, $22 for 3 hours. Parking validation was free. She pulled out a checkbook, $385. She handed it to Maria, who smiled and tucked it into her purse. Andrew saw it. "Patricia, is that the account Sally set up?" "It's the family emergency account. I'd deposited $200 every month for 7 years, $16,800 total. I'd never withdrawn a penny. My parents had withdrawn $4,200 without telling me." "Andrew, you're being dramatic. Maria's ticket is a real problem, I whispered. She doesn't go to job interviews. My mother frowned. Maria's been unemployed for 8 months. She's had 3 interviews. She skipped all of them. Maria's face flushed. That's not true. July 18th, you overslept. August 9th, commute too far. September 22nd, you had a headache, but you went shopping that afternoon and posted 7 Instagram stories at Nordstrom. Silence. Sally, don't be selfish, Maria said. You have money. I don't. That's not my fault. I pulled the oxygen tube from my nose. I want you to leave, now. Excuse me? We are your parents. Get out, or I'll have security remove you. Sally, you're not yourself. I'm exactly myself. I've been paying your bills for 7 years. And yesterday, when I was dying, you chose a $385 traffic ticket over me. Get out. My heart monitor started beeping. A nurse came in. I'm going to have to ask you to leave, my mother said. But we're her family. Dr. Hartwick stood. Leave now. They left. Maria paused at the door. You're going to regret this. When the door closed, Dr. Hartwick sat back down. How long has this been going on, Sally? I started to cry. 34 years. August 9th, commute too far. September 22nd, you had a headache, but you went shopping that afternoon and posted 7 Instagram stories at Nordstrom. Silence. Sally, don't be selfish, Maria said. You have money. I don't. That's not my fault. I pulled the oxygen tube from my nose. I want you to leave, now. Excuse me? We are your parents. Get out, or I'll have security remove you. Sally, you're not yourself. I'm exactly myself. I've been paying your bills for 7 years. And yesterday, when I was dying, you chose a $385 traffic ticket over me. Get out. My heart monitor started beeping. A nurse came in. I'm going to have to ask you to leave, my mother said. But we're her family. Dr. Hartwick stood. Leave now. They left. Maria paused at the door. You're going to regret this. When the door closed, Dr. Hartwick sat back down. How long has this been going on, Sally? I started to cry. 34 years. Over the next 3 weeks, I compiled everything. 7 years of bank statements, monthly transfers, $1,200 for 84 months, $100,800. Emergency transfers, $12,400. The loan, I'd paid $43,700. My parents had paid $0. Total, $160,900. Facebook posts, the lies about Maria. Medical records showing my injuries. 247 pages of evidence. I created a PowerPoint. Andrew saw it. Once you do this, your relationship with them is over. It's already over. Saturday, November 30th, 2024. The hospital gala, 220 guests. My parents arrived. My mother wore a $380 dress. I'd Venmo'd her the money. Maria wore a $200 dress. I'd Venmo'd her the money. They waved, smiled like nothing was wrong. Dr. Hartwick stood at the podium. Tonight, I want to tell you about a surgeon, a trauma surgeon who saved 3 lives in 16 hours and then collapsed. And when she called for help, the people who were supposed to love her most didn't come. My mother whispered, Sally, what is this? The truth. Dr. Hartwick continued. 7 phone calls. Her blood family arrived 3 hours late after the surgery was over. And the first thing they said was not thank God you're alive. It was, can you write a check? Gasps. My mother grabbed my wrist. Sally, stop this. I pulled away. Dr. Sally Harrison, please join me. I walked to the stage. Standing ovation. I took the microphone. Hello, Mom, Dad, Maria. Thanks for coming. I have 220 witnesses, so let me say a few things. I clicked through the slides. The timeline. 10 phone calls. 90 minutes. My parents 25 minutes away at a cafe while I was bleeding internally. The loan document. $186,000. Co-signed by me. 0 payments by them. $43,700 by me. Monthly transfers. $100,800. Total financial support. $160,900. Then the Facebook posts. Maria's fake master's degree. Maria's fake volunteering. My mother's lies about me being stressed and dramatic. A photo of me alone at my award ceremony. I invited them 6 weeks in advance. They didn't come. They were helping Maria move into their basement, where she still lives, rent-free. Gasps, murmurs. I'm a trauma surgeon. I've held beating hearts in my hands. But I couldn't say no to my parents, until now. James walked to the stage. Mr. Harrison, I called you at 4:35 p.m. I told you Sally had internal bleeding. Your wife said, Sally is strong. She's a doctor. Right now, Maria is having a mental breakdown over a ticket. Sally would want us to prioritize Maria. She always does. A mental breakdown over a $385 traffic ticket, while Sally was drowning in her own blood. He turned to the audience. I've seen parents drive through blizzards. I've never seen a family take 3 hours to drive 25 minutes. Dr. Hartwick returned. This hospital is Dr. Harrison's family. They showed up. They saved her. So we're establishing the Dr. Sally Harrison Surgical Education Fund. Starting balance, $25,000. Standing ovation. I returned to the microphone. I'm not doing this for revenge. I'm doing this for my daughter Emma. She's 5 years old, and I need her to know. You don't owe people your life just because they're related to you. Family is the people who show up. I turned to my parents. Mum, Dad, Maria, I forgive you. Not because you've apologized. You haven't. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It doesn't mean I'll keep funding your lives. As of tonight, the loan is your responsibility. The bank has removed me as co-signer. The monthly transfers stop. The emergency fund is closed. This is the last time you'll see my number call you. I put the microphone down and walked off the stage. Andrew wrapped his arms around me. Behind me, I heard my mother say, We're leaving. This is abuse. And someone said, No, Patricia, what you did was abuse. This is consequences. By Sunday morning, the videos had 340,000 views. By Sunday evening, nearly 1 million. The comments, her parents are monsters. I hope they lose everything. Monday, a lawyer called. My parents wanted a cease and desist. I said, Tell them if they want to sue me, they're welcome to try. I have 247 pages of evidence and 220 witnesses. See you in court. I hung up. Andrew said, That was hot. I laughed for the first time in weeks. The bank removed me from the loan. My parents are now solely responsible for $142,300. They're selling their house. Maria texted me, You ruined our lives. I typed back, I stopped funding them. There's a difference. Also, you're 38 years old. Get a job. Then I blocked her number. 3 months later, I was back in the OR. A 28-year-old woman, car accident, fractured ribs and punctured lung, the same injuries I'd had. The surgery was successful. When I walked into the recovery room, her mother was there. She'd driven 2 hours through a snowstorm. She'd been there before the ambulance arrived. She grabbed my hands, crying, Thank you for saving my daughter. I watched her hug her daughter. Real love, unconditional, present. James came up behind me. You good? Yeah, I'm good. Thinking about your parents? No, I'm thinking about Emma, about the kind of mother I want to be. What kind is that? The kind who shows up? I scrubbed out, looked at my reflection. My phone buzzed. Andrew. Emma wants to know if you're coming to her school play tomorrow. I smiled, typed back. Front row, I'll be there. Because that's what family does.